Welcome back to episode 4 of the Gooner Profile. I am Kyle alongside Joel from Arsenal Review USA. This week we have Phil from the Austin Gooners, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about, of course, being an Arsenal fan and what it means to be a part of that group down there in Austin, and also give him a chance to talk about his new book, the United States of Soccer, I believe it's called.
Yes.
And so we'll get to that for sure at the end here. But first off, Phil, tell us a little bit about your Arsenal fan journey and just that group down in Austin. I know you guys have a lot going on over the years, even some charity matches, things like that. Just tell us about the dynamic down there in Austin.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a fun big group. We get typically 50 to 75 for a game, can be as much as 200 to 300 for big ones. And yeah, it's just a big fun bunch of rowdy Texans at the tavern, which is on 12th and Lamar, which is just right north of downtown. Actually, right by where the Austin Aztecs used to play when we had the Austin Aztecs.
Okay. Okay. And what about your Arsenal journey? What got you hooked in the beginning?
Thierry Henry, and it really started with the '98 World Cup, but didn't get much Premier League soccer on Texas cable network. So around 2008, I believe it was a Arsenal game against Man U where Man U was up 1-0 and Arsenal came back with 2 goals in the last 10 minutes to win the game. And at that point, I was hooked. I mean, Man U was basically the Yankees, the Cowboys, the Lakers all in one. Didn't want that. Was looking for a team, and obviously was drawn to Henry. And once I saw him score that goal on that header to beat Man U, it was like, yeah, this is my team. This is who I want to be with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always like to do a little background tracking here. Like when you first got involved with Arsenal, what station were you watching at? Probably like Fox Sports. What was it? Fox Sports World back then?
I think it would have been. Yeah.
It's always interesting to see like how most people say they started getting into Arsenal via FIFA. That's our number one.
Yeah. No, it was strictly World Cup and gravitating towards the French team and loving Henry and just wanting to kind of see what he was doing more and more as I got more and more into soccer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everyone always talks about Arsenal style. That's one of the main things that gets them hooked on
definitely.
Arsenal. Yeah, but I'm always curious because to me, I feel like it has changed their style of play, at least a little bit. From when you first started as a fan or became a fan to now, how would you say their style has changed? In what one or two ways? Can you pinpoint any?
To me, it still seems like it's offensive minded. It still seems like there's a lot of triangulation, a lot of emphasis on the midfield. Getting the ball in good spots to the forwards, or now what I would say maybe the change is that you have kind of a lot more of the forwards, like Giroud in particular, with a lot of hold up play and feeding the ball back to the midfielders. You see Alexis and Ozil being kind of a lot more involved in the scoring or the key passing, but a lot of it comes from what happens up top. Whereas obviously when Henry was in his prime, you just got it to him and watched him do magical things.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And on the same token, Phil, or similar token, what has changed over your time with the group down there in Austin? I mean, you mentioned for big matches, 200 to 300. That's pretty fantastic. I mean, that's got to be one of the bigger groups. I know you guys are one of more of the active groups, especially as it pertains to some of your rivals there as well.
Right.
How have the dynamics changed from kind of being a startup group, if you will? We see them popping up all over the place each and every year. What have they been like over the last, say, 5 years or so?
Yeah, well, I think the big change is we were all kind of at one bar, which was just west of campus, and getting into the tavern a few years ago was a big change. Yeah, I mean, we were sharing it with Chelsea, we were sharing it with sometimes United and City fans. It would kind of all be this one big place where fans would congregate. And then we had the opportunity. I mean, part of it was just kind of circumstance, but part of it was genuinely opportunity to make it our own. And once we moved into that home, there's really no other fan group in town that hangs out there. So, it really became kind of our clubhouse, and we were able to just have this kind of dynamic of it being an Arsenal bar. So that's been the biggest change. And then it's always stayed diverse. It's always stayed welcoming. It's always stayed really friendly.
That's cool.
I mean, of course, the biggest challenge if you're in Texas is we have blue laws. So on Sunday morning, they can't serve before 10 a.m. So those Sunday morning, 7:30 games can be, kind of, duller affairs than some of the other games. But it's still, it's still fun. It's still a big fun bunch of people that hang out there and make it a really, welcoming, Texas friendly experience.
Yeah. And how would you say, obviously that's your environment in terms of watching the game and interacting with Arsenal fans. From what you've been able to observe, obviously you write about Arsenal, you interact with other Arsenal fans. How would you say like the fan base across the United States has changed? Obviously in numbers it's changed, but in what other ways would you say, how could you say it's changed in the last, ever since you've been supporting Arsenal?
I think one of the bigger things is I think there's maybe been a little bit more cohesion because you've had the team actually come over here on American tours 2 of the past 3 years. You had 14 with the Red Bulls, and then you had this past summer with the All-Star game in San Jose. So just the ability to actually physically congregate and actually hang out with these fans and have a reason to do so, I think has really made it a lot more cohesive. Just from my involvement not only with the local group, but obviously with national, just making those kind of friendships and being able to actually see these people in person and hang out with them and, hoist a pint with them and then be able to, kind of continue and carry on through social media channels. I think it's much more of a community than, it might have been a few years ago where there wasn't the occasion to do that, where everybody was just kind of congregating in their own place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's amazing. Like not the last couple of years, but I guess in the last decade, how social media has just started it off like wildfire. I think before that it was always about forums. That's the only way people would interact. But now it's much more prevalent, I guess you could say.
Right.
Interaction. Exactly. So yeah. Tell us a little bit about your book. You've got the book out, The United States of Soccer. What is it about, and who's going to want to read it?
It is a history of MLS. It starts with 1988 when the U.S. was awarded the 94 World Cup on the condition that they would start a league. Of course, NASL had died about 3-4 years earlier, so that was a little bit of a challenge. But it walks through just kind of the origin stories and goes through the early years, and it's basically a chronicling of the league, and there is some, this team won this year sorts of information. But there's also a lot about supporters culture and how that grew and how that flourished. And yeah, it's funny that you were talking about social media. There's a big section at the end that talks about the social media efforts of the league, and they talk about, radio built baseball and TV built the NFL, and really the internet, there's this kind of connection there that gets chronicled and talked about in the book. And then also just how they were able to overcome kind of those early years where soccer was kind of the metric system of the American sports world.
Yeah.
It was something that might have been great for the rest of the world, but America didn't necessarily want to embrace soccer. And now I think there's much more of a interest in it, and obviously as more people learn about it, I think more and more people get hooked. So anybody who wants to know about MLS and wants to know about how that grew, anybody who's got a curiosity about it, definitely I think it's a fun read.
Cool. Yeah,
great. So
no, you're there.
A little bit of
I'm here.
Lag. Before we let you go, Phil, more importantly for you, where can one find the book? And their hands on it.
It should be in some bookstores. It's definitely on Amazon. So that's where you would go. Also, my press, the Overlook Press, I think you can buy it from there. But Amazon's a good spot to get that. So I know it's definitely there. And
all right,
yeah. So
I'm sure we can put a few links out there as well for you. Appreciate your time, Phil. Really enjoyed the talk. These are pretty short and sweet. I'm sure we could again talk for quite a long time, but certainly appreciate you coming on. Good luck with the book, and hopefully we'll catch up with the Austin Gooners in the very near future.
That'd be awesome.
All right.
Great.
Take care.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kyle, we're still here. We're still live.
Yes.
So.
That's my Gooner. That's my Gooner fan story. Is trying to do something for Arsenal, and your 4-year-old gets up and has to pee. So there you go. And the wife can't take care of it because she's feeding the baby. That's my Arsenal fan story. Trying to blend the two.
Is that
together.
Kyle? Is that what attracted you to Arsenal? To get away from
Yes.
your wife and family?
Okay. Yeah. Well, not really, but you try to balance the two. Either way, we do appreciate Phil's time. Check out the book United States of Soccer, like you said, on Amazon. I'm sure it would be a good read. He's written for, I think, theshortfuse.com for a long time covering Arsenal, and lots of good insights from Phil. So we appreciate his time. Austin Gooners, of course, a great group down there. They've done a lot of charity work, charity matches with other supporters clubs. So check them out if you get a chance as well. Next weekend, which of course is the week of Thanksgiving, at least if you're watching this within the next couple of days or perhaps watching live, we probably won't have a live Gooner profile next week, and we'll continue with episode 5 the following week. We'll figure something out. Maybe we can find some drunk, thankful people to talk to, thankful Gooners to talk to. But either way, if you want to learn more about our show and what we do, you can check out all the links below in the description. And of course, if you like what we do and you want to offer some feedback, please subscribe and check out the podcast that we put out each and every week. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you here in a few weeks. Have a great Thanksgiving.